Hello, my name's Phil, and guess what? Human cloning's real. Yep, REM-Phase cloning is real, and every time I go to sleep now, they're messing with me. Put me in scenarios usually, it's like a movie, I think it's real, and I just run around while they're probably laughing at me. Doing this video on behalf of Donald Marshall. He needs help. He's in a much worse situation than I am. What he has to deal with, he's been tortured, harassed. They take his ideas. All he's trying to do is tell people. He's not trying to get fame. He's not trying to make money off you. He just wants you to know. And if you don't start sharing information and telling people, it's going to be too late. People have to know this. Like, I know it's embarrassing to try to tell people this. They think you're crazy. But you got to do it. I don't know what to say. Aliens, the Vril, are real. Parasiting people. Illuminati, NWO, Cabal, whatever you want to call them. Microchipping people. Taking their bodies. It's real. He's put out all the information. He needs help. He can't deal with it anymore. People think he's satire or it's some sort of entertainment. It's not entertainment. He's so disgusted with at this point that he just can't believe it. All he's trying to do is inform people, and they just brushed it off like it's nothing. No one else is going to tell you this stuff. They're too scared. Politicians, celebrities, musicians, they're not going to say anything. It's going to have to be the regular people, just normal people, sharing information. It's going to have to go viral. Something of his is going to have to go viral. I don't care if it's me or what, it doesn't matter. You just have got to share information more. I mean, think about it. What if your parents sold you into this? Or your brother, sister, husband, your wife sold you into this for money and benefits. It's global. This is just so horrible, but it's real. I know it's hard to think about it and accept it, but you have to. There's no way that anyone with any fame or notoriety is going to come out about this. They will be killed, or they will be tortured over and over, put in a clone, tortured to death, put in the next clone, tortured to death, and continue. It's going to have to be normal people. I don't care if you do it anonymously, just share information. This has to be done. They're getting ready to bring the cold polar vortex down through Alaska, through the United States, and freeze everyone into their homes or whatever, and they're going to be frozen in there while they're being hit with HARP constantly and agitated, and I don't know what's going to happen, but Donald Marshall's information has to go viral. It has to. This has got to stop. Not for me, for him. He's really the best human being I've ever met, and without him I wouldn't even know about this. We have got to do something to help him here. This is the most important thing in history right now. I don't know what to say at this point. It's almost 6 in the morning, and I want to go to sleep. I'm not joking. Just please share information. I know it's embarrassing. You don't want people to think you're nuts or whatever, but you might be surprised. People's reaction. People are going to say bad things, but might be surprised how many people message you and say they believe you and they know what's going on. I was surprised myself. It just has to be done. This information has to be shared. And that's all I can say. Thank you. Hi. My name is Chuppa, and I'm going to talk about cloning, REM-Phase cloning, and the history of it, and how it pertains to me. Cloning started in at least 1945s in Nazi Germany, and when the Americans, British, and Russians went into Germany at the end of World War II, all the countries got a piece of the technology. Now, there are 2 different types of cloning processes and 4 different types of clones that are known about so far. The 2 processes are replication cloning, grown up from a baby up, and duplication cloning, just a fully formed double of you. And the 4 types of clones are Mark 1 clones called organic robotoids. It's a terrible name because there's no robot parts to it. It's just a name. It's just a name for the Mark 1 original type of clones. They're not even used anymore. And a lot of the Nazis that were executed and hanged after the Nuremberg trials were Mark 1 organic robotoid clones. And a lot of them escaped. Not all, but many of the ones hanged were Mark 1 clones. Mark 2 clones are REM-driven clones, meaning REM, rapid eye movement phase of sleep, meaning they take your consciousness while you sleep, and when you enter REM phase in an hour and a half to 2 hours, and they put your consciousness or mind into a clone in the cloning center. And there's no way to block this I know of aside from maybe a Faraday cage, but this is what's happening to me, and it's every night pretty much, and it's not a dream. I know what you're thinking, but it's way too real. I dream about things I've never seen before or thought about. The Mark 3 and 4 clones are, I don't know much about, but they are the newest and most advanced. Now, REM-Phase cloning, where they take your mind, put it in a clone of you or something else. They can take it and put it into an animal. They can put it into a different person, a younger version of you, a robot. They can do a lot of weird, sick things, whatever they want to do. Now, a lot of these people that this happens to are memory suppressed. They're drugged. Inside the clone is a drug dispenser that dispenses heroin, which makes it fuzzy and make you think it's a dream. Also, they use MK Ultra video and audio effects, which is like a live CGI right in front of your face. They can make you see anything they want. And at the cloning center, and it's how the Illuminati control people. It's why no one talks, because everyone has to sleep. Everyone, whether they dream or remember their dreams or not, everyone needs that REM phase of sleep. You can set your alarm for the middle of the night, wake up a couple times, but after 7 days, you'll become sick and you'll die after that, because human beings need that REM phase sleep. And when you're in a clone, you do get that REM phase sleep. If they put your mind to a clone, your body, the original body, still gets the sleep. Now, the clones, the way they clone people, all they need is your blood anymore. They own the Red Cross. They used to need tissue that was high in stem cells and stuff, but now they do not. All they need is your blood. And if you've ever donated blood, or if you've ever had surgery, dental surgery, or anything, they probably have your DNA on file. And it's really global. They can, if they want you, they can get you. They can send you there at night. And my family is, there's Freemasons in my family. So I've probably been there a long time, but now I go to the cloning center, the same one they send me to that Donald Marshall is at, because they've seen us talking. And the cloning center is, the one time I've seen it without being shown fake visuals was, I remember sitting in the stands and looking at a very large widescreen, like extremely huge, in a kind of a circular seating, a stadium seating arrangement. And there was something on, I can't remember what was on the screen, but I remember turning to my left and seeing Michael J. Fox. And it was odd because he had a very strange, parted over sideways, a long haircut, which is not his normal cut, which is typical of clones, because when you come out of the cloning tube, I guess your hair is just extremely grown. It just keeps growing. And when they're there, I guess they just part it how they can to deal with it. They usually put me in the MK Ultra scenarios, drug me, and it's usually like a horror movie, running from something or trying to fight something. It's pretty much a terror scenario, and they're probably sitting watching in the stands for entertainment because they're bored, sick people. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I don't want money. I don't want to be famous. I just need to tell people about this because there's a lot of people who can't say anything. Celebrities won't say anything. Musicians, athletes, they all have this happen to them, and they can't say anything. They'll be remotely killed if they put an electrical charge to your clone. You will have an aneurysm or heart attack in your real body. It's what happened to Bernie Mac, pretty much. He was tortured. He stood up for Donald Marshall, and he was tortured so bad that he had a aneurysm the next day, and he died. Now, a lot of things that happen to me is it's usually a scenario of some kind where I'm just, what I remember, I'll just tell you, is it's just like a horror movie. It's probably all fake, but it's what I saw. It was, you know, the horror movie character Pumpkinhead. Well, me and a bunch of other people were pretty much trying to kill this thing and stay alive. I had a revolver. I just remember shooting and reloading, running, and eventually we killed this thing. Well, they had the typical horror movie false ending, and like 5 or 10 more of these things came out. Yeah, it was messed up. And also, last night, I should tell you, and I hope it wasn't me, I hope it wasn't real, but I remember driving away from something, and I remember seeing something ahead of me, driving a car, and it was police officers in riot gear, and I drove through them, and then I woke up. And sometimes they take your consciousness and put it in a clone, in a place, and have you run that person just to have an event or something. And I hope to God it wasn't me that ran down people. I hope it was fake. No. This happens to me pretty much every time I go to sleep. Sometimes I can remember, sometimes not. They can repress certain things in your memory and let you remember other things. They've got the brain completely figured out. I only know this stuff because of Donald Marshall, and he needs to be known about. People need to know about his information. It's extremely important. And REM cloning needs to stop. They need to stop taking people, and they steal their ideas, they torture them there, take their ideas and use them themselves to make money, hold people hostage, and just, there's nothing you can do, really. Just this needs to stop. I'm really don't want to talk about this, but I have to. And the cloning's been going along for a very long time. It needs to be stopped. There's no good reason for it. The body parts grown for, say, replacing somebody's internal organs or something, it wouldn't work. The cloned organs degenerate too quickly. They're grown too quickly and they break down. So they're not even good for replacing your heart or whatever internal organ you need replacing. There's no point to it. The rich, inbred, cannibalistic pedophiles that run this planet, the billionaires pretty much. Pope Ratzinger, who's still the Pope. Pope Francis is just a figurehead, public relations thing. Queen Elizabeth, Vladimir Putin. China runs them, Arabs and Russia are pretty much preventing this from ending. They don't want to end this. China has done so much badness to their own people. So is Russia. This is just needs to end, and I'm not sure what else to say, but it's really annoying and unsettling and unnerving to be harassed while you're sleeping. No one should have to deal with that, and it needs to stop. Thank you for your time. Hello, Phil Chuppa here, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happened recently to me at cloning. And a little background is REM-Phase cloning is they take your consciousness while you sleep and put it in a clone in the cloning center. And as soon as you hit the REM phase of sleep, and you have to stay there until you wake up. They tell people a lot of different BS. It's the fifth dimension, seventh dimension, nirvana, Shangri-La, a time stutter, singularity. They say that it's another dimension, or that it's lucid dreaming, or the astral plane. It's not. You're just in a cloning center, and they're using MK Ultra visual and audio effects to make you see what they want. Now, they've been doing this to me probably my whole life, but now they see me talking to Donald Marshall, and I go to the same cloning center he does now. And I know it's real because I've seen, one time I've seen the seating arrangement, the stadium seating, around a large, extremely large widescreen, and it's real. I don't know what to tell you. But what's been happening to me is, the other night I had two experiences. One, I woke up and went to another one, and I went back to sleep. The first one was, there was something going on where I had a mission or task, and I was flying a plane. It's very vivid, very intense. Never flown a plane. And I was going to a stadium to try to prevent something. And with me was actress Ellen Page. Now, I don't know if it was really her, or if it was just visuals, but she was helping me, and the plane went down. We got another plane, propeller plane, and I was flying it, and it was extremely intense, avoiding buildings and things to try to get there. And we got there, and we had to get in past security, and she helped me get into there, and I don't remember if I achieved my goal or whatnot, but it was very intense, and I never just have dreams about celebrities. I don't think they're all that great anyway. And I woke up from that and stayed up for a few hours and went back to sleep, and they put me in another one. And it was, in my room, there's stairs going down, steps, and in the scenario they put me in, the steps kept going down into a vast underground labyrinth of, it looked like something what Donald Marshall explains as the underground of a deep underground military base. There's computers, it was vast, there was like elevators, different doors, long hallways, and there's these people, these four women, and they were trying to go on the computers, and I had a feeling for some reason that they were trying to alert the government or something, and I kept grabbing him and taking him off the computer and tell him to stop. And we were walking through the vast labyrinth of doors and elevators, and at the end of one elevator, something came out of it. Can't remember what it was, but when I turned and I saw a team of, I said this out loud, and I thought CIA. I don't know why I thought that. It was like a team of, they had riot gear and type of Black Ops wear on, and one of them slammed me down, and I saw who seemed to be the leader of it, and he didn't have a helmet on. It looked just like that actor Scott Wolf. This was on a lot of different shows. He was on Party of Five, I think, first. And what they did was they slammed me down, and they took a long needle, long needle, connected to a tube, and they jammed it into my lower left abdomen, my stomach, on the left side. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. That's the first time I felt pain there. And they started to suck out my blood or fluid or whatever through the tube, and I could see it. I could see it coming out. And man, that really hurt. And I just thought it was weird, and then I woke up. It's the first time I've felt pain there, and it was a really vivid scenario. And last night it was a blur. I'm not sure what happened, but that's what happened the previous night. And I'm going to make another video shortly here about the real problem, which is body snatching. Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Phil Chuppa, and I'm going to talk about the biggest problem in the world right now, probably, which is body snatching by Vril Parasite and by Microchip. Well, Vril body snatching is called droning. First of all, the Vril is what the Illuminati generally use to take over people, and makes it easier for them to have the people do what they want. The Vril are underground reptiles that predate humans, and the Vril type 1 are about a foot tall, with eye stalks and reddish scales, different colors, different regions. They have, they're just dumb reptiles. They're smarter than chimpanzee, but they're not as smart as humans. They have a compulsion to body snatch other living creatures, and they prefer humans because it's their best quality of life they can get. Now, they have a proboscis that comes out of their head, the top of their spine, over, comes out, and a little worm kind of thing wriggles out, and the person or whatever would need to be immobilized. It need to be drugged or tied up, or you just push it away. But how they do it is, it's parasite biology. It is not mystical, magical. It is not like latching on to your chakra or whatever. It is a parasite biology. Proboscis comes out of the spinal column. There's a protrusion that comes straight up, and like a worm little thing comes out. It does not go into your eyeball. It goes against your eyeball and worms its way under the eyelid and around and back to the optic nerve, where it circles several times going towards the back, towards your brain, and it circles the optic nerve several times, which is where the picture of the medical industry comes from, with that snake curling around the pole. That's where it comes from. And it circles the optic nerve until it reaches the back of your optic nerve, and it releases the spinal fluid that contains the parasitic cells into your brain. And the person dies. The person's consciousness dies. You're not in there somewhere. The person is not temporary. It's a permanent transfer, one way, for the lizard and the poor creature. And releases the parasitic cells in the spinal fluid. It's horribly painful, and the person dies, and the parasite dominates. It's not symbiotic. It's complete domination, and the Vril parasite takes over the human body. And it takes about a month for them to adapt and recall memories and learn to mimic that person's behavior. And becomes a parasite host, or drone, they call it. Now, drones don't have lizard eyes, they don't have slit eyes, and they don't morph back and forth from lizard to person. It's one way. The lizard's body dies, and the human consciousness dies. And after a month of not doing much, just adapting to the body and learning to mimic that person's behavior, they live the rest of their life in your body. Takes your friend, say, and you're talking to him after they've been droned. You're not talking to your friend, you're talking to the thing that killed your friend, to take his body and use it. Now, this was the biggest secret in the world until Donald Marshall broke it, because there's a lot of disinfo with David Icke and others that say that don't talk about this. Only one guy talks about this, and that's Donald Marshall, and now I'm trying to help him. The drones have no sympathy or empathy for anyone but themselves. They fake it well. And there's no physical way to tell. There's no smoking gun of, oh, he turned into a lizard. None of that. That's fake. The eye slit thing is fake. You can have that reaction by overdosing on antibiotics. Like the Jimmy Johnson football coach broadcasting in the Super Bowl, that's an overdose of antibiotics to get that slit eye appearance. And they can fake sympathy, but they don't care. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about each other even. They just want to be a top level creature they can drone and live as that. They're a parasite. They have a compulsion. They have a sexual compulsion to drone people. Now, there's not many ways to tell once that happens. Like, they can't understand dry humor, and if you're lucky, the droning process of going in around the eyeball will rip the eyelid on the outside or the inside, and one of the eyes will appear different than the other, or it'll be swelling, it'll swell out or sink in. Like, hi Bono from U2, and why do you think he wears the shades all the time? Also, the singer from Radiohead, that's not a lazy eye, he's a drone. Also, they have erratic type of behavior. They need handlers around usually so they don't go off and bite someone on the face or something stupid. They're smarter in a human, but they're still not as smart as the original human. And it's the worst thing. There's a lot of drones in the world, but there's still more humans. And they fear people knowing this. Now, that messed up eye thing is not common. They use young, immature Vril type 1 to drone people, ideally, so there's a smaller proboscis, less chance of the eye being messed up. The only way to tell for sure is an MRI or CAT scan of the brain, looking for the front of the brain, no brain activity in the front part of the brain. Same thing as you see on a serial killer. That's not human behavior. That's either mind control or one of these things. And the droning process will kill the front activity in the brain, and you can see that in the MRI or CAT scan. Now, this is the worst thing in the world because there's no one going back, the person is dead, and the thing is there are no good hosts, there are no good drones, because they kill that person in order to take his body. It's not like the movie The Host where, it's a good thing and it's symbiotic. It's not. They're inherent murderers. They murder to take that body. And same thing with an animal, with a horse or whatever. You drone a horse, you get a smarter horse. Cats, dogs, whatever. Now, this needs to be known about. This needs to be stopped. They need to be eradicated. And they don't want that. They will beg and cry and plead for sympathy like a human would, but they're not. They're just trying to maintain self-preservation. They're horrible parasitic lizards. They're not mystical creatures. They're just lizards with parasite biology. Now, they've been called many nicknames like a mimic, a demon, angels, or they have so many names, like a jinn, or different countries have different names for them. And the history of them has been removed a lot of time by hosts throughout the years, but you can still find it. The Eye of Horus symbol with that stupid line going off, curly line, and then the one going straight down, means the curly one is the proboscis going in the eye, and the one straight down means the overflow of the spinal fluid coming out. And in the Egyptian times, they would leave that on the face as a religious symbol. Now, it's not. It's just a parasite, but that what they did at the time. And the Eye of Horus symbol is not the pineal gland bisected. It's not. It's this parasite. Now, I'm going to have to cut this off, but I'll talk about microchip implanting on the next one. Thank you. Hello, my name is Chuppa, and I am a victim of human cloning and REM cloning. I'm not a clone. REM cloning is when you sleep, and in an hour and a half to 2 hours you hit REM sleep. And during this time, the Illuminati have a technology that can take your consciousness and put it in a clone at the cloning center in a deep underground military base. And all those military bases have a floor for cloning, also gene splicing, different floors for different things. And I've seen it. It's as Donald Marshall describes a stadium seating section in front of a big screen, and he needs help. Donald Marshall needs help with this. He needs people to know. And the biggest problem is also, beyond cloning, it's parasite body snatching by Vril lizards, which have a parasite biology. Also, there is body snatching by Microchip, which many other governments do, and it's a similar thing to parasite body snatching. Now, the Vril are lizards which predate people, and they have a parasitic biology, which is to body snatch other organisms, animals, humans, whatever. They prefer humans for the best quality of life they can get. And how they do this is they have a proboscis that comes out of their spinal cord from the top of their head, and it has a parasitic worm, or it's best described as a worm that comes out of their proboscis and goes into your eye. Goes in around the eyelid, inside the eyelid, and around the eyeball to the back of the eye, where it gets around the optic nerve and spirals around it until it reaches the back towards your brain, and that is where it releases the parasitic cells. And that is what body snatches a person. It takes over. It's a permanent thing. There's no going back for the animal, and the person is dead, and there's no saving him at that point. And after a month of recuperating, the person may seem sick or whatever, the parasite host or drone then takes the identity of that person permanently until that person's body passes away. And it's a big problem in society, and a lot of times the eye is damaged, inside or outside is pulled more open, or the eyelid's ripped, or it puffs out from swelling, or sinks in. Hi, Bono. It's just the biggest problem in society. If you ever seen that picture of the two cops that beat that guy to death in Los Angeles or in California, it's the one white cop has the ripped eye. It's everywhere. It's all over Facebook. It's all over everywhere. It's global. Also, there is a problem of microchip body snatching by the Soulstone. Soulstone is just a nickname for a microchip about the size of an apple seed that is put on the end of a rod, and if you ever go under for anesthesia at a hospital or dentist office, this can be done to you. And they pop out the eye, and they have a metal rod, long rod with the microchip at the end, and they stick it into your eye socket and back into your brain, and they can body snatch you that way. It's not the only chip. There's different chips for different things. They all do different things, and it's really awful. It's how billionaires still alive, like King Abdullah from Saudi Arabia, who just died. He didn't die. He went to the next body, probably in a clone of himself or someone else was body snatched. Just put his consciousness onto the Soulstone microchip, and he's still alive. Many of the billionaires do this, pretty much. It's prevalent among them, and one of the biggest problems in the world, where they fear death and they don't want to die, so they just keep remaking themselves in clones or body snatch some poor person in a hospital, asylum, or whatever. And there's less side effects in someone who's body snatched as opposed to a clone. There's even less side effects in a family member. If you body snatch one of your own family. And yeah, people do that. Joan Rivers, yeah. It's her daughter. She is her daughter. She body snatched long ago, and when she died, it wasn't some stupid thing about where she said something about Michelle Obama. It was, she lived a dual consciousness of herself and her daughter for years. And then she had too many health problems in her original body, so she just went to her daughter. And her daughter made that tearful speech after she died. Yeah, that was her, Joan Rivers. Body snatched her own daughter. These people don't even think about it. So many people just give up their own children for money and benefits. Might be hard to believe, but it's just so prevalent. It's many of the world leaders of the past still live as undead chip heads, whatever you call it, on the Soulstone. Their consciousness, it's flawed. The tech is flawed. They can't fix it. Makes you just a perverted bisexual child molester to come back on a microchip. It's you, but it's a perverted version of you, like Pet Cemetery or something like that, where you come back just not right. And really, you have to read all the information. It's all on the pro boards, DonaldMarshallProboards.com, or you can go on the Rogue One page, or my page, or I have a Twitter and a Instagram and a Tumblr called Cloning Center, which really has all the info. But just go on Rogue One or DonaldMarshallProboards.com, and all the information's there for free. And it needs to be known. At this point, it's pretty much decided between the world leaders of what they're going to do. But I am just trying to prevent heart attacks by people who have no concept of this when they see it on TV. You need to show people this. You need to show people about REM cloning and the body snatching. Because if people have no concept of this when it comes on TV, they're just going to have mental breakdowns and have heart attacks. And I'm trying to prevent that. At this point, that's all I can really do. Just provide the links. Just please tell people about this. Share. Just tell them to go to the Rogue One page and just look. You don't have to believe it. Just look at it. Just be aware of the possibility, because this is affecting me personally as well, and I am a victim of this REM cloning. I go every night, barely see the real place. I just see phony, manipulated dreams, pretty much. I sit there as a clone and I don't see the real place. But I just see MK Ultra effects on my clone, which is drugged, which all clones have a drug dispenser implanted in them with heroin. Also MK Ultra visuals, which is like a live CGI from movies, just live in front of your face. Looks real as real. And I'm tired of relating fake things to people, so till I see the real place again, I'm not going to talk about what's happening to me. Just like a horror movie. It's probably all completely fake. And I don't talk to celebrities or anything. At least I don't remember. And I know how much I hate them. So I don't think they give me too much of a leash there when I'm at the cloning center. But just please be aware. Donald Marshall is the only one talking about this. Human cloning, REM cloning, and body snatching. All the others are talking about some BS, and they're all Illuminati members. David Icke, Mark Dice, Alex Jones. They're all in it for perks. They just say what they're allowed to say. Some truth mixed with BS, and they just doing it for the money. Please, you have to understand Donald Marshall is just trying to tell people doesn't want money, he's not writing a book. Just please look at this information and show people. Thank you.